you want to know who to put your bonds into. Now, for me, in my money, I gotta say, I really feel like the Haru unit. If we go here to the exchange, I'm enjoying Haru a lot, but I don't know if I'm ever gonna put a bond into her.
What?
I don't know if I'm ever gonna put a bond into her.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
I know. I heard it all in the comments, guys. I actually came down here to record the video on Haruhime to kind of talk about that new unit, and I realized I wholly misunderstood the character. Now, this is me. When I'm wrong, I'll be the first to fess up to it, and we'll go over it here in a moment. But let's talk about the OG Haruhime. Now this Haruhime, at this juncture of the game, is completely free to play. So let's talk about this as a free-to-play unit, because you get a free one of her when she drops. You can get her from 3-star tickets, 2-star tickets, whatever. This unit can be acquired, and even if you really play your cards right, you get enough bonds throughout the game that you could, in theory, max limit break her completely free to play. I do say in theory, because it's going to be a tough road, and you basically would have to make the choice as to whether she's going to be the only one or whatever. But let's talk about her, okay? First things first, skill number 1 is a fast mid-fire magic attack with temporary strength and mid-fire magic attack with strength and magic down 40%. That's a big 40% debuff on your foes. That basically just negates incoming damage to a T. This is a really phenomenal skill, and as you guys know, she's like a 1-3-2 stack. So she's going to do this first, then she's going to move on to her third skill. But I'm going to talk about her second skill first. And we're going to talk about this in comparison to the other Haruhime, and really come to the decision which Haruhime is the best, okay? Skill 2 is a self 15% MP heal. It's actually pretty good. And allies counter and penetration rate up 30%. That's a very, very, very good buff. We use that a lot. Remember, with her, all of her counters are heals. So, basically, that buff is, like, mandatory for this unit. Finally, skill 3. And if you notice, like, show you the age of the character. And she's not that old in comparison to the rest of the game, but she's about, like, half the age of the game. So, she's out there. Most everybody's, like, skills now are, like, a paragraph long. Hers is, like, a sentence and a half. So, allies, 30% HP heal. That's very good. Also, allies, status buff and foe status debuff plus 2 turns. So, basically, when she does this, any buff that's in play on your foes is going to be extended by an extra 2 turns. Now, remember, they're always going to use that in that turn. So, if there's no other buff or debuff extension in play, then basically at the end of that turn, they're going to get like an extra turn for it. So, if you have something that, let's say, for the sake of argument, that had 4 turns left. At the end of this turn, it's going to have 5 turns left. At the end of the next turn, it's going to have 6, so on and so forth. This is a really, really, really phenomenal skill and cannot be understated as to how awesome this is. Then we got to talk about her SA, okay? Ultra HP heal to all allies. Ultra HP heal, 40% HP regen, plus strength and magic, plus 100% for 3 turns, okay? That means for 3 turns, you're going to get 40% HP back at the end of that turn, and all your strength and your magic is going to be buffed to 100%. This is a really crazy good skill. Really good. Now, this unit cannot be understated. She is really, really, really good. But if there's some things that kind of show her age in the game, HP, even at fully max limit break, fully ascended and everything, is starting to show. I have been critical of this unit because she is a little on the squishy side. HP being 3,400 is very, very, very low for the current stage of the game. Her magic attack, remember, she only really has like one attack, a single AoE attack. That is a fire type. And magic attack at 1647 is a bit low. And there's really no need for her physical stat. Like, it just doesn't have a huge amount of uses here. So really, like, this unit is good, not phenomenal anymore. I mean, wait, okay. Let me take that back. She's amazing. she's great. She was, up to this point, the best unit in the game. But as far as her stats go, her stats leave a bit to be desired. And that's kind of what I mean by this. So, for her skills more than make up for her stats. But her stats, well, they leave her out in the cold very often. So you've got to be really careful with it. If you guys have seen any current like record buster runs or anything like that utilizing this unit, you know that she can often leave you like turn 12, she's dead, just because she simply doesn't have the health. It's been an issue. All right? Now, that's the OG. Let's talk about this new one. And to do so, we're going to first start off with her stats. Because when I'm critical of this unit, I kind of sit here and look at her stats and go, she's only really slightly better than the old Haru. She's got a little bit more defense. She's got like 100 more magic attack. She still has a physical stat, which she doesn't really need that much. And her HP is 3,500 in comparison to 3,400. She is like just under 150 more HP. And really, that's not terrible, but it's also not the improvement I would like to see. So initially, when I look at this unit, I say, okay, this could be massively, and I do mean massively, improved upon. And let's go ahead and go into her skills, okay? And initially, when I was talking about using her as a sack, the reason I was doing that is because, number one, mine is not max limit broken. Mine is level 60. I've got one bond in her, and I am a bit salty about my pulls. So I've got to kind of pull myself back from that and go, okay, look at this in the realm of everything she does, not in the realm of what you use her for. And that's kind of where I've been able to, you guys know I've been on vacation. I haven't been paying a huge amount of attention to the games. I've had a lot going on, so pardon me if I'm only now getting back into the realm of this. But using her essay is amazing. Strength of magic, instead of 100%, is now 120%. And that is crazy, crazy numbers. The only unit in the game that it comes anywhere near this is the buff you get from Finn when he's Record Buster boss, or the Tiona. Yeah, Tiona, that, I mean, we've already talked about her. She's a crazy good fire unit. She's phenomenal. Hardest hitter in the game, bar none. But the 120% is a next level skill. Also for 3 turns, just like the OG Haru. And one thing she does that the OG Haru doesn't do is remove status debuffs. So every debuff on your players, on everybody, gone. And I think I talked about this when she dropped. Like, this is like a new, like, she's going to be like the new stall unit. Like, everybody's going to be using her on stall teams. It's going to be stupid how crazy OP she is on stall teams. And if you guys haven't been paying attention, you can now run an all Haruhime stall team. Just throwing that little knowledge nugget out there. And every player is going to hate you for it. But it's a ting. It's a ting. So the one thing she's missing here is that big heal and the HP regen. So when she does this, she doesn't get that huge heal. And one of the things I really loved about the OG Haru is that if you're in a pinch, if you just have nothing else to do and nowhere else to go, you could always rely on that big heal. And it's going to give her a bunch of HP regen, or give everybody on the team a bunch of HP regen to, like, suffice them for the next couple of turns. So initially when I look at this, I'm like, this is good. It's a slight improvement, but also it's like, 2 step forwards, 1 step back, in my opinion. But I completely forgot about the debuff removal. And I really feel like that skill easily, and I will say easily, and I will amend everything I said earlier, easily overshadows any deficiency she has in the health department. That really takes the cake when it comes to this skill. Would I like more healing? Absolutely. At this stage of the game, we've got so many healers. Run another healer. Run the OG Haru for all it matters, if you really need the healing. But let's get into our other skills. Okay, so I think we can say, for the fair amount of certainty here, this is a better skill for her SA. It is lacking the healing, which I would love to have, but I think I'm willing to agree there are ways around that. Okay, skill 1. Now remember, with the OG Haru, skill 1 is literally a giant 40% debuff. Okay, and I'm going to be honest here, this is not the first skill you're going to use. This is most likely the first skill you're going to use. And if you guys have been paying attention to any of the teams I've been building for the past, I don't know, since the OG Lina has dropped in the game, we always sack her absolutely first. And we do it because of this first skill here. Fast. SA gauge charge gain 33% to all allies. So everybody on the team instantly gets this 33% SA gauge charge. So she's another unit. She's one of the 5 or 6 units in the game that do this, and that's phenomenal. That's great. I love it. I can't get enough of it. So if you're following along, basically what she's doing is she's giving you everything that, well, okay, not everything, but the best part of what the Line units you have with the crazy good SA Sans Healing that the OG Haru has. So once again, like, I really feel like this kind of tips the scales in her favor. Massively. Massively. So I'm willing to give this one too. Now, here's where I kind of am a little critical once again. Attack type, all targets down 35% for 4 turns. So in other words, any AoE attacks you receive are going to be down 35% for 4 turns. Remember, the one big thing I loved about the OG Haru is that 40% debuff. This is now 35% and it's only AoE attacks. So single target attacks still going to hurt, still ain't going to feel terribly good. So defensively, she's not that great. And do bear in mind, there's a massive point here, guys. This is a huge point. Do bear in mind that number 1, single target attacks are going to affect you. Number 2, this is like basically you're only defending yourself to like what, 50% of incoming attacks. You know, it does physical and magic, but it doesn't really cover really enough, in my opinion. And she's really low health in comparison to most current units. Like, we're really trying to like get closer to that 4K range in the base level attacks. I know when she gets CP levels, she's going to be up there, but I'm talking in the base levels. Once everybody's ascended and everything's good to go, I would prefer to see her a little bit higher in that health department, or at least in defenses. And so I feel like lacking that, and now, you know, lacking a little bit of defense, once again, I'm very critical of that. The one thing I will give her, self, and I completely 100% forgot that she got the extra attacks. I'm used to that being up here in skill 1. I completely and 100% forgot she did this, and this is the number 1 reason why I was critical of this unit in the prior video. Self, 3 actions, that means turn 2, 3, and 4, heal 30% of HP, regardless. Bam, you don't have to do any other skills. She's just going to do it unless she SAs. SA is the exception to the rule. And status buff plus 2 turns for all allies. Remember, with the OG Haru, you had to do that with skill 3. You don't have to do it here. She's just going to do it on turns 2, 3, and 4. And then turn 4, you're going to rebuff it, so she can do 5, 6, 7. And then on 7, you're going to rebuff it, so she can do 8, 9, 10. However long you need to go, you guys know at this point we've had this mechanic for over a year now. So, you know how to use this mechanic, you know how to keep this in play. Pretty straightforward stuff. It is a very MP-thirsty skill, but that's when we go back to skill 1, which is a foes plural. Now, worth noting here, on the OG Haru, this was skill 2, sort of. And I'll talk about the differences in these units. Skill 2 on OG Haru was not an attack, it was a buff skill. This now becomes an AoE mid-wind magic attack, with ultra and counter rate no less, so it's very unlikely she'll get countered for utilizing this. And it gives all allies MP 10% heal. Stop what you're doing I know you're only half watching this. You're playing something else in the background. This is not a 15% self-heal. This is an all allies 10% MP heal. That means, like with my Record Buster team, where I did put an MP heal unit on my, because I don't have enough of the new units to really make a good Record Buster team, when I did put the MP heal assist on my Leafia, you've now got an MP heal native in your attacks. Also includes the critical and penetration rate buff. I'm sorry, critical penetration and counter rate buff that skill 2 did on the OG Haru. But I believe on hers it was only penetration and counter. I don't believe it was actually critical rate. So this includes all allies MP heal. All allies. All of them. Everybody on your team gets MP heal and a critical rate. So that in and of itself, absolutely phenomenal. This blows her other skill 2 out of the water. It's not even a contest. Not even a contest. Not even close. Now, we got to talk about skill 3. Okay? And notice that this is a high MP cost. You do this, you're going to do this like 3 or 4 times. Use this once or twice to rebuff her MP. It's that easy. It's just that easy. You maybe have to do this like 2-3 times to get back the MP to do it, but you're not also going to be using, remember on the OG Haru, the MP cost was on her skill 3, which you're not using that much. You're going to be using her skill, which her skill 1 is the equivalent of. You're going to be using her skill 3 down here, which is a much lower MP cost, so she's going to be a lot more easy on the MP scaling. All right? So, skill 3 with this one is a super wind magic attack with temporary magic boost and status D. So, notice it is a super wind magic attack with another magic boost on top of that. And status debuff plus 2 turns. So, all of your foes' attack, status debuffs, all of your foes' debuffs are replicated like we talked about before. Now, whereas prior, and I will say prior, normally what you would do is you'd be using skill 3, and then you'd have to go back and do skill 2 to buff MP. And then you start losing buffs and debuffs. You lose debuff a little bit, but debuff stays in place so much, and you've got other units that buff it too. You can handle that, or you can re-debuff or do whatever. It's very, very, very easy to handle this situation, because you're only doing this a handful of times, and you're still getting that skill with the buff regen. And the buff regen is really your most important asset in most circumstances. Not all. Not all. Reveria Record Buster being the exception to the rule. But largely, this is going to be very, very, very good. And I would say they're probably going to test this by doing a Reverian Record Buster next. I don't see them doing Finn for a little bit of time just because of her SA, but I could be wrong on that. But I do feel like Reveria Record Buster is going to be next and it's going to test this skill. So, as critical as I was of Haruhime prior, I have to remove myself and say, okay, this Haru is really good. But you'll notice what she is missing. She is missing healing, like, she's got the 30% HP heal here, but she doesn't have like an on-demand regen, or she doesn't have like the big HP heal. The one thing she does have, though, so you need to, that's the one thing that's really important. You need to keep this in play in order to get the heal. If you forget this, you're going to hate life. But if we go a little further down here, so blah 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 blah. That's the magic activates, SI combos, blah blah blah. So non-elemental, so these are all her combo attacks. So here we go. When countering, instead of attacking regularly, it low heals an ally, prioritizes the ally with the lowest percentage HP. So it still has the same skill. She's still a counter healer, and she buffs counters even more. OG Haru, I hate to say it, I really didn't want to let her usurp her, but it's not even a discussion anymore. And yes, I was completely wrong, but also bear in mind, I've been out of commission. I haven't been playing the game like I should have. I really hadn't taken time to absorb and compare them. And while I was working on my video on her, I sat down, did the comparison myself, and said, well, it sucks self. We're wrong. We have a new queen of literally everything. But do bear in mind, you got to keep that skill 2 buffed. And you cannot rely on her SA to be a heal. But that said, you really need to max limit break this unit. And because I've only got 1 bond out of her, I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to hit old girls OnlyFans. Because I got 1 bond. Now, we're going to get a guaranteed here. That's going to put her +2. If I can get her +3, I will be ecstatic. But my luck has been atrocious on these banners. So I'm really not holding out a huge amount of hope. I really feel like I'm going to be leaning either on my my star bonds or on... Come on, just... I'm talking it down here, so you give me the extra. Come on, game. Be nice to me. What is with these banners? Bruh. Where's the luck? Where's the luck? Yeah, so that's +2 on Haru. I'm gonna completely have to go over here and literally buy all of the bundles. So the bundles aren't terribly expensive. I'm literally gonna have to buy all the bundles and just go crazy. Why not? We're here. Let's do it. 3-star ticket. My luck's been atrocious, but what's the worst that could happen? I probably should have honestly waited for a night where my luck was, woo! Let's go! Let's go! And we got a Welf. I'm very happy about that. That's awesome. So basically what I should be saying here is that while I was critical of the OG or of the new Haru, I 100% will be picking the bond out of Heroic Trial for my Haru. Because while I did kind of like, oh, I'm getting doubles. I'll take it. I will take it. Double pull on the 3-star ticket. So once again, guys, if you doubt the 3-star ticket, it is worth 100. Just go crazy, get silly, and do it, guys. But yes, I'm going to use the bond and Heroic Trials on my Haruhime. I'm going to hit the bundles here when we stream next time, and yeah, I am probably going to weep heavily into my paid iris. But we're on a quest to maximum break this Haruhime, and then we'll do a full-on comparison between the two and really come to the decision. But I really feel like the new Haru. Remember, the old Haru doesn't really have but 1 attack, and the new Haru is like 2 out of 3 attacks. So, like, comment, share. Be back with more Danmachi, and hopefully I won't be dead wrong about everything. Maybe. Track record not so good on that.